Hi everyone, good morning. Today, in last class, what we
Morning, bro.
discussed, good morning. So we discussed about the queues, right? So how to work with the queues, how to process the queues data, so how to validate. So we saw that. So now today we are going to discuss about how to implement tags and filters in a queue. For example, if you have some set of records in a queue, if you are running parallelly in multiple processes, same queue, then what it will do? It will pick, then always it will pick the next pending record from your queue list, right? It will pick one by one, first in first out process. But instead of that, so our requirement is it has to pick only the specific record. If you come to the queue data, just a minute, I will open queue records. Yeah. If you observe this here, so it will pick, so when you are running multiple bots in a same queue, it will pick one by one, and then it is going to pick the next available record from a queue, next pending record from a queue. Okay, but I don't want to implement like this. So our requirement is, if you observe the data here, it has to pick in first bot, it has to pick the name start with only A. In second bot, it has to pick only the name start with only B. In next bot, it has to pick only the name start with V. Only these things. It means specifically we are filtering the records. Based on this, it has to pick and it has to process. Then how to do this? Then we have a concept of tags and filters. We have to create a tags for each and every record. It's an indication for each and every work case. It's a indication here. Now we'll see how to work with this tags here. Come to the previous process. We open. These are a few what we have done previously, right? So let me copy the same thing. So here what is happening when you run that, so it will pick all the exception records, all the valid records into this. But instead of this, we have to, when you are processing data, it has to process based on your filter or based on your tag. Let me copy the same process and we'll create another process for tags and filters. And close this. Come here. Click. And copy. Close it. Let me create another process here. Go q underscore tags and does finish. Double click. We'll copy. We can copy process from one process to another process. That is possible, right? Okay. And we can delete. Okay. So now this is the process. Here, if you observe this. When you are sending the data to a queue, add data to queue. Double click on this. What you can able to see, tags, right? Here, just assume that we are going to give based on tag, based on collection dot. So what is the collection name here? This one, data, right? So collection dot field name, right? We are going to give collection dot. What is the field name? For the name, we need a tag. For name, name is a field name. For name, we need tag. So just observe this. We have given this. Now what it will do when you are running this, it is going to create tags for each and every name, right? It has to create. Now so let me run up to here and observe this in the work queue. Now come to the control room. Come to the work queue. Refresh. Now observe these tags for these records. What is the tags it is showing here? It's showing for each and everything. It is showing as a, right? It is not displaying so A, B, V, D, and all those things individually, right? For each and everything, it is displaying only A. This is happening because when you are processing the data from collection to queue, add to queue, add to queue will pick all the records at the same time from that collection to queue. When it is picking all the records at the same time, it is going to pick the first record name. First name, first tag name. It will give you the first information, that's it. It is not processing row by row basis. It's processing all the records from the collection to queue at the same time. So that's why it is giving for all the names, it is giving the same name. For all the tags, it is giving same name. Instead of that, our requirement is each and everything has to be individual. Each and everything has to go individually here, right? We need to process only A, we need to process only B. Then so here in the control room, it has to give the values like, so for A, B, C, D, like that, right? Then only we can able to process the specific records. Now instead of doing this, what we have to do is, here add to queue is there. Here it is getting all the records from the collection to queue at the same time. Instead of that, we need to process one by one to the queue. For that, we need to create another process. Let me create another page, page 1. If you want to use this collection data in another page, then observe this option, hide from other pages in the process. Click on that. Then what is going to be happen? Whatever the collection you have in a page 1, in a main page, you can able to use it in all your pages. That's the meaning of this. Now page 1, that collection will come here. That collection data you need to give it to some other collection to process record by record basis. For that, so we have to create another collection row by row, right? Single collection name, you can create it as a single. Here we will create data. Observe this single row. So if you are going for only single row by row basis, click on the single row, and then so how many child values let it be, and how many fields we have in this same employee ID, name, salary, commission. 4 employee ID, name, sal, commission. Number, commission, number. Okay. Now initial values. Observe this. Multiple it has created initial values. So observe this one, add row. We don't have because it's a restricted to single row only. So we need only single row. We need to process one by one. If you observe the icon here also, observe this icon. It's a single row. Now from that collection, whatever the records we will get from Excel to collection, the same records we have to give it to this single row. For that, what we have to do is loop, right? Wherever you are going to use collection, we have to use a loop. Double click. Now which collections it is? Data. It has to be data. 1 second. Click OK. Come here. Where is the data? Yeah. These values it has to, these values, right? These values it has to come to there. So click OK. double click, hide from other pages, come to this, double click, into this, now data, click OK. Now, so we are having all the records in a collection. It is coming to the loop. From that loop, we need to assign row by row to this particular collection. How to do that? We have a multi calculation to implement that, right? Double click here, this collection dot employee ID. You are going to assign this value to single employee ID. Same way for everything. So from this collection you need to assign one by one to this single row. From this single row we have to process to the another one, add to queue. When you are doing that, so it will pick one by one instead of so dumping everything bulk to that particular add to queue. Now the same thing again, control C. So this is for name. Again assign this to name, and then this is for salary. Assign this to single row salary. This is for commission. Assign this to commission if you want. Right? So now click OK. Now what is going to be happen here? It will pick each and everything and it will give it to single row commission here. So after that, what we have to do? Add to queue. From here we need to add to queue from this single row. One by one it has to add, right? Then only you can able to see that. Now use action, double click, add to queue, business object name about queue, and then so add to queue. What is about queue name? Queue underscore 7. And what about the collection? Which collection you need to add to queue? Here, this one, this collection, right? And then here tag. From this collection, which tag? Which column we need a tag? For name we need a tag. That's why we have given the name here. And then output if you want, so you can generate new this. Now observe this. If you run this, what is going to be happen from here? So it will give for each and everything, row by row it will pick, so one by one it is going to process. So if you want to just cross check, so let me start it from here, set to next stage, just try to run. Observe this, adding to queue one by one it is processing, one by one after another it is going to number data, maybe because of this one. So we have some else, right? Save this. Now close this. Now this page, so instead of add to queue here, we need to use the page one. Come to pointer, remove this, use page, create a reference, page one. Now it will run. Now let me delete all the data from that queue in control room case, and we will see that. to the control room and delete everything from here. Okay, so we don't have anything in the work queue now in control room. Now we are going to run this. It has to pick only the specific thing, right? Okay, so first let me turn up to here, run to this stage, reset, come here, right, run to this stage, get next item, it went, and then this picking one by one. Now come to the control room, work queue, observe this, first one A, next one is B, observe again, see this, it is picking each and every record individually, right? But previously what happened, each and everything it has given the same value, right? Now we have everything. From this, how to filter the data, this is very important. In interviews also they will ask, can you tell me so how we are going to pick any specific records from a queue based on your so filter conditions. So if you want to pick only A, you have to give like this, plus A. It means it will pick all records with A. If you want A as well as B, you have to do like this. So plus A, again plus B. Then it will pick everything A and as well as B. If you want to restrict other than A remaining everything we need to process, then we have to do like this. Other than A remaining everything it will process. So this is the syntax how we are going to give it for the filters when you are processing the things. Now come here. So how to give the filters? Always we will do it in a get next item, right? See this, get next item tag filter. Observe that, tag filter. Here if you give, when it is picking the next item, we are going to give the filter for this. So I'm going to give A for this, or whatever it may be based on your requirement. And if you run this, it will pick only the A's and it will give it to this particular thing, the next process. Now just run from here. It will pick only the A's from the process every time. Come to the control room, refresh, observe this, which one it is processing, first 8th and 9th, A, only these things is processed, remaining things all are pending, because in this process we mentioned that it has to run only for this A's. Now come to the process series, it's ended, right? Same way, so we can restrict so your data based on your tags and filters. For that, first we need to create a tag. After that we need to create a tag filter in your get next item. Remember, we are creating a tag in your add to queue. Once you create a tag in a add to queue, you are going to filter that in a get next item. These are very important. In interviews also they will ask this question, how to use tags and how to use a tag filters. And one more important thing is, here we have a option called defer until. Defer until. What it mean by that? Defer until. Defer until it will not process your queue data until that specific period of time. It will not process the queue data until that specific period of time. It will be same in a pending state only. It will not pick the data to process. That is nothing but defer until. So how to use this? So for example, assume that in which situation we are going to use this. For example, so the bot is running at 9 a.m. Okay, but so before that it is processing everything. After some time, after half an hour, after 1 hour, we will make it the files. We will receive the files, but it will you will get the all the completed files before all the files before 11 a.m. Assume that before the 11 a.m. it should not process. After the 11 a.m. only it has to process the queues data. It has to send it to the next process. It's up to that it has to stop. It has to wait. It will not pick. So there is nothing but defer until. If you observe here, we have an option here in add to queue. Observe this defer until. We have defer until option. So if you give this option, it is not going to pick your queue work cases or queue records until that specific period of time. That is nothing but defer until. And one more thing, when you are working with defer until or scheduling, always the blue prism will follow UTC time zone. This is the universal time zone for blue prism. For example, if you observe in scheduling also, if you schedule our IST time zone, it will not exactly at that IST time zones because it will be configured with UTC time UTC. Always it will consider UTC time zone only. Okay. So generally, so what they are going to do is when they installed the Blue Prism in their servers, they are going to set up their time for UTC. So that's the thing. They will not set up so time for local timings. So they because assume that each and every server in a different countries. So they are maintaining different servers. When they want to run at a specific schedule time, then it will not run, right? So because each and every country timings will be different. Assume that so they need to run so UTC time zone specifically at 6 a.m. Then each and every country they are specifying they are using specific time zones, then it's very difficult, right? That's why so our universal time zone is UTC time zone. Remember, in scheduling as well as defer concept, it will follow everywhere UTC time zone. Now here, so we need to implement the same time zone here if you want to do that defer until. Okay, so first we need to create for that. This is time. Here we need to give the time. Let me create a variable for that for timing defer until. Observe this date and time, so let it be. So we'll increase this time to 0. Now click apply. It has been created, right? Now come to this. Now we have to use that. Double click. If you want to use a variable, environmental variable, we have to use exposure to environment and defer until. Click OK and reset. Now observe the time here. See this? This is the defer until time. If you give the time here in a queue, date and time, in a defer until up to this time, it will not take that records. So here reset, come to this control room, work queue, work queue. Observe this. Do you have any next view here? We don't have, right? We don't have any next review option here. So for that, what we have to do is, so we have to use differ. If you use differ until, it will give you next review. So when that record has to go for the next review, next iteration, that is nothing but differ until. Now we'll see that. Come here. Already we have the data in work queue. No, we don't have, right? Come to this, add to queue loop. Okay, we will run up to here and then we will see. Let me save this. We given this differ until and then run to this stage. Come to this, refresh, observe this one. What it says is next review. Observe the timing. Did you given this time? No, it has taken UTC time zone. Here if you observe, come to here, date and time settings. See this? This is UTC plus 530. This is universal time zone UTC. So here our sys I plus 530, right? This time we have scheduled plus 530. So this one, so by default, whatever the time you are given there in this differ until, so it will minus 530 for this timing. This one is minus 530. That's why it has given this time in the control room. If you observe this here, observe this control room queue. Observe the time for this. Sorry, observe the time for this differ next 13. Right. So this has been directly converted to UTC. So this is the concept of differ until. Now, one more thing here. Whatever the records we processed and then we have validated, right? All the completed records, it has to pick in one process. All the exception records, you need to pick it in another process. Then how to do that? Here, okay. So when we are running, so each and every record it is picking, each and every work case it is picking, and then it is going to separate. So all the exception one queue or all the another completed records into another collection, all the exceptions into another collection. That is fine. Then you can process these collections data to one specific application. Okay, we can do that. Instead of picking this, so do you have any other option? Yes, we have another option. That action is get all completed items, get all exception items. We will use that also sometimes. So here, if you observe this, just a minute, the queue data, let me open. Okay. So because it's open in the back end, let me close that. Observe this. We have a data, right? We have salary. We have all the salaries. If you want to calculate all the completed records, we need to calculate a salary. All the exception records. So we don't want to calculate a total salary. For all completed records only, we need to calculate salary. Assume that. Then how to do that? Let it be. Now, okay. Now let me copy the same queue. Already previously we copied, right? Okay. We'll create another process here. to implement this, close this, come to this, right click, queue, work queue, let's go, get all completed, the same option for, so you can use for get all exceptions, get all completed. We need to get all the completed, we need to process only the completed records. We need to process, we don't want to process everything, we want to process only completed records. Then how to so do that, we will see that. So in already in a work queue, we will run this work queue. Okay, come to the control room, work queue, let me delete everything, work cases, more. Now we don't have anything. Now come to this, come to the process, work queue. If you run this, it will divide the data, right? Let me run in fast mode, reset, run. It's done. Now here, so in this collection we have 3 for exceptions. In this collection we have 7 records for completed. Okay. Now come to the control room. In control room, you can able to see, so all these exceptions and all these completed, right? Okay. Now this is there in a control room. It means in a queue. Now, so we need to use these things. This result in a next process. Now close this. Come to this studio. Get all completed. So we have an action called get all completed items. Now you say action, double click, get all completed. Now go to the business object name, work queue, observe this, see this, get completed items, get exception items. If you want to process completed items, you can go for completed items. So this one is work queue underscore 7 key name, just give the queue name, that's it. And then where you are going to store it in a collection. Okay, now all the completed items you will get it here, but what about the data? We need to work with the data, right? For example, here in the previous example, we need to calculate total salary for all the completed records, total salary for all completed records. Then we need to get all the values, right? Employee ID, name, salary, we need a salary there. If you have salary, then only we can able to process, right? So how you will get the record value? Here we have get item data, we have an option called, so in previous example also we used get item data. What it will give? It will give you the item data here in a collection. See this output collection. In this, it will give you the item data here. Get data, get data. Let it be. For in this collection, you will get record by record value. Okay, we are getting record by record value. For this, what we need to do? We need to calculate total salary, right? So, for example, total salary means for all the completed items, total salary. Then we have to use a loop. So, because this values will come to the collection, use a loop here. Now, it has to pick one by one, and then we will calculate. We will implement calculation. Double click. Here we will create another data item for to store total salary and declare total salary. Data item number, let it go for 0. Double click. From where you will get, right? Data dot salary, salary, collection name dot field name plus total salary. assign it to total salary again. Okay, so now click OK. Now give the link. So like this, we can pick only the completed items, we can pick only exception items. Once you get the exception items, if you want the values from that for that particular data items, we can give get, I mean, so this action, so get item data. You can, if you use this action, then you will get the records for that. These records you can process it to application. Now, one error we have. Valid expression calculation. One double click. Valid. Okay. So here data dot salary. So it is coming in a collection, means by default collection it will take texts, right? Always the universal data type is text. We need to convert into number. So go to conversion to number. Just use this one. Plus total salary. Now valid. Valid. Yes. So now let it be. Now if you run, it will calculate only for the completed items for total salary. Now reset. From where it is going to pick. In collection, it did not mention for which collection it has to take completed items. Right? Now reset. Come to this. It will pick all the completed items. From where it will pick? From the queue. So which one we have given here? Get all completed items. So this the queue name. From this queue means it will go to the control room and then it will check what all the queue data. So it has been so used for completed items. Those things it will pick and then it will give it to that application. The same way if you want to do it for, so get all exception items. Instead of this, you can use exception items. You can do that. Now reset and then let me check. So how it is going to pick. We'll run it in a slow. Now run. Also this, how many records it picked? Only 7, because only 7 are completed items, right? Observe this, first record total salary, next record it is picking, second record here you can able to see the value of the second record. See this value again when it is running. So for the next record, so here you can able to see the value of the next record. Only the completed items, one by one it will pick from this. Based on this item IDs, we have already validated. These item ID records we are picking one by one and we are processing. This is the way how we can able to process. In interviews, they will ask this question: how you are going to pick or get, how you are going to pick the completed items from a queue, how we are going to pick only the exception items from a queue. You have to use get completed items action or get exception items action. So this is the one way. Another way is you can load all the exceptions into one queue, so which we saw in the last class. On one queue, all the completed items, all exception items into another queue. From that, so sorry, that is collection. All the completed items into one collection, all the exception items into another collection. Then from that collection, you can able to process so to which application you want. So this is the thing how we can able to so perform this. So just on it. Let's save this. So any questions in this specific thing? Differ until or tag and filter. Remember the syntax how we can able to give for the tags, that is very important. Plus means it will add everything with that name. Minus means it will execute everything with the name. Other than that, it will process for the remaining things. So For example, in certification question also, sometimes you will get this question. So how to exclude some specific values? You have to use minus and then name. It will exclude everything from a queue. So any questions in this specific thing? But you have to so practice.